This is going to be an update on the tomato experiment from last winter. So this is the tomato tub that lived in the shop over the winter last year with, I put some lights on it, and it actually the vegetation did really well. You can check my other videos for that. It grew, the plant itself grew pretty well, but it didn't have very many the actual fruit. So it didn't fruit real well over the winter. I brought it back out here. You can see it's still on that skid. I brought it back out here early this spring, put it right next to my other containers. I planted this one up in the spring with brand new plants, and the production from this one really is no better than the production from one plant off of that container. So we only really had one plant produce out of that container. I planted 3, and for whatever reason, 2 of them just did not do very well. One was a little productive, but I probably only got 4 tomatoes off of that plant all year, and I probably only got about 4 off of this one all year. Again, just to rehash, if you're new to the channel here, this was some sort of weird hybrid last year. These were volunteer seeds that came up about halfway through the year. So these plants now are over a year old. We're mid-September now, so these plants would have started sometime around August of last year. So you can see how I've been treating them. They're on the edge of my yard here, and if they grow out in the grass too much, they get whacked with a lawnmower. So I haven't been very careful with this plant, but I think because of the weird hybrid, I think it was a Super Steak cherry tomato hybrid is what I'm afraid actually happened here. And they don't produce very much fruit. They don't produce very large fruit. So I saw there was 2 of them here that need picked. This is about the biggest tomato that I've gotten off that plant. It looks like the other one's about the same size. We'll go over here and harvest it too while we're out here. Yeah, this one is actually, that one is the biggest one. There's a couple more smaller ones on there. So that's about, I've probably got, what did I say, about 4 to 6 other tomatoes off of this. So this will make like 6 or 8 that I've got off of it all year. It's just simply not worth the effort. And what we learned through this experiment was a couple of things. I'm going to let this die in the next month or so. I'm going to quit watering it. The season's going to be changing. It's going to want to die on its own. So I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to put this one up for the winter again, but what we learned from this was that you absolutely can keep a tomato under some Amazon shop lights. Check my other videos for how I made the frame and hung the lights and everything. I did the same sort of light setup for my trees that I grow in the basement. I've raised trees for a few years now. And so we got some chestnuts, we got some sawtooth oak, white oak, pecan, some English walnuts. A variety of trees grow under those same lights. So we learned that the lights work very well to grow, tomatoes. Hell, you can grow tomatoes under those lights. The fruit and vegetation grow okay. And another thing that we learned from this experiment was that the variety of tomato matters greatly. So because these are some weird hybrid volunteers, I think that's why they produce sort of crappy tomatoes. These are not that bad looking, but these are not something that I would be proud of, really. So if you were going to do this, for the amount of time and energy that you put into growing tomatoes over the winter in the shop, I would definitely do a good variety, something that is a good producer. It might be worth doing, with a good producer, fresh, having fresh tomatoes in January. The smell, there's nothing that smells and tastes quite like a homegrown tomato. So if you're going to do this with a good variety, maybe we'll do that this winter. We'll maybe get a hold of some good seeds here in the next few weeks, replant one of these tubs, stick them in there under the lights, and see if we can get a good variety to grow. That might be an experiment for this coming season. Anyhow, there's your update for the tomatoes, that wintertime experiment. we're going to go ahead and let these die here in the next week or two. They never did really amount to much this year. A lot of vegetation. I was feeding them master blend fertilizer, you know, hydroponic fertilizer through the year. I was giving them the same thing I was giving these. It was a bad year for the temperature, the amount of rainfall we got early in the year. It affected, because these barrels are open on top, so that amount of rain affected how these tomatoes grew. If you like this video, click the thumbs up button. If you want to see me doing all kinds of weird little experiments out here, out in the shop, click subscribe. Till next time, keep on tinkering.